and then print of ఈ ఆర్డర్లోనే అడిగింది. Is this what we got? 1 2 3, this is 5 6 9 10 12, and then 15 is both divisible by 3 and 5. Did we got the same thing? Yeah. So are we clear on this? Yeah. Fine, sir. Now factorial with recursion, I am not even trying. List comprehensions, let us wait for some more people to join. We will try to add that. And then there is something called as palindrome checker. And now he is trying to speak about a palindrome, which is a string. So the story is straightforward. So what is my next thing? This is what I want. So what is palindrome, sir? When you reverse, if you reverse the string, if you are getting the same value, that is something that is considered to be palindrome. So now let me try to basically write def is underscore palindrome of, they have written yes, but ideally you should be trying to take text. Okay, fine. So I am basically putting this as empty, but I want you guys to fill it out. Okay, but for this function checks if the string is palindrome or not. The type is str, right? And description is string passed. And we need to do one more thing, which is returns. And what this function will return, sir? It will return a Boolean. That is true if palindrome, false otherwise. Okay. Now return s is equivalent to s colon colon minus 1. అంతేగా, ఎందుకంటే పెద్ద పని ఏముంది ఇందులో. So when you do s colon colon minus 1, you get a reverse of a string. Okay, we have looked into slicing. Okay, now if this is equivalent, that becomes a palindrome. Now let me try to run this. So what అనేది ఏంటి? is underscore palindrome మన స్పెల్లింగ్ తప్పేసాం, ఇందులో కాపీ చేస్తాం కుదురుతులా. రైట్, మై బ్యాడ్. ఓకే, ఓకే సార్. ఓకే, fine. is underscore palindrome of race car. Are you getting true? And let me try to give something which is not a palindrome. Is underscore palindrome of test. Test is definitely not a palindrome, because when you reverse it, you will not get everything. Yeah, how much time it is taking? It is not taking too much of time, right? Because it is easy. We understand the concept and we understand how to reverse an element. Okay, right. Next entity, dictionary manipulation. So what is that he wants? He wants to invert a dictionary. Good. Chedi, whatever is key, he wants it as value, and whatever is value, he wants it as. How to do this? This I want you guys to try. నేను చేస్తుంటే చూస్తుంటే చాలా అందంగా ఉంటుంది. Yeah. And by the way, we have spoken about this. Now the next problem is this. Will you try or shall I try? ఈ కర్మ ఏంట్రా బాబు అనిపిస్తుందా? జీవితం అలాగే ఉంటుంది. Yeah, fine, sir. So def invert of dictionary. So I'm not writing any doc strings anymore because I have a documentation earlier itself. You pass a dictionary, this will invert a dictionary. So if I pass this dictionary, I should be getting a reverse of it. Yeah. So now you tell me what is it I need to do. Okay. Now let me try to call inverted dictionary of this. Then I should be getting reverse of it. Anyone who is trying this or just looking at screen? In dictionary, what are the two things which we have? Key and value. Is there any way to get all the keys at one shot? మీకు గుర్తుండే అవకాశమే లేదు. గూగుల్ చేయండి. Extend will add items to the dictionary కదా, నాకు ఓన్లీ కీస్ కావాలి. మీరు పెద్దగా పొడిచేయాల్సిన అవసరం కూడా ఏమీ లేదు. ఓకే, జస్ట్ గో ఓవర్ హియర్, Python x is equals to whatever I have copied, and then try to write x dot, and then try to see what are the methods that you will get in Visual Studio Code. Try to see if there is any method where you can get all the keys and all the values. Remember, if I have two lists, I can make that as a dictionary. We have spoken about something in yesterday's class. E research chete saripod. Can we do it? Yeah, some of the people have been giving me answers. Kindly write code for it. For the people who are unable to do it, I will try to anyway. Naaku tappadu kada, nenu raatanu answer. Okay, sir. Try to see what is that we will get when we type x dot keys. Yeah. So if I convert a list of x dot keys, am I getting ABC? Okay. Now list of x dot values. Okay. Now let me try to convert that into list of x dot values. Did I got 1, 2, 3? Okay. Now all I need to do over here is return dictionary. Okay, this dictionary is created by a zip. What is zip? Zip will convert two lists into a dictionary. But what would be my first list? First list would be d dot values, comma d dot keys. Let us try to see. If it doesn't work, we will try to convert it into a list or a tuple and then try to do it. Okay, because it is an iterable, there is no need for you to specifically convert that. Vachinda? Yeah. So this is something which we have discussed in the last session. We'll have keys and we'll have values. And all I have done is, if you remember, we also spoken about if I have two lists, how to make it as a dictionary. For that, we have used a method called as zip. Okay. For the time పట్టిందా దీనికి చూడటానికి ఇదేదో పెద్ద అద్భుతం లాగా ఉంటుంది. Right? Fine then. So string man, I am not doing this. This you try it. Oval count. You need to go through the loop and then figure out if it is a oval. If it is inside the oval list, you need to increment the count of it, or you need to find out what are the stuffs. What are the ovals? A, E, I, O, U. Hello world and pass cheste. Here it is trying to tell that there is one E and two O's. Will you do it or shall I do it? ఇదన్నా ట్రై చేయండి పోనీ నా సంతృప్తి గురించి. దీంట్లో మీరు చేయాల్సింది లూపే. ఆల్ యూ హావ్ టు డు ఇస్ లూప్ అండ్ బిల్డ్ ఎ డిక్షనరీ. యా. సో I want you to try this, sir. So this is what I want. Def oval underscore count of yes. This function will take string and return oval count. Okay. Type is str. Text first. And then what it returns? It returns dictionary of what? Oval and its count. Okay, I've just written a pass. I have not written any code. Can we try this? Okay. So for this, you have to iterate. You have to look into each oval. If each letter is a oval, then try basically doing this. Go ahead, sir. Do it. We'll come back to this 25 problems and then we will try to solve it. Yeah. People on the web, are we trying it, sir? Okay. So right now it is 8:17. How much time do you need to do this? Okay. I'll give you 5 minutes. 8:17 and 8:22. Go ahead. Try this. So one hint for the people who are starting to do it for the first time programming is don't try to solve everything at one shot. First try to loop a dictionary where you get both key and value, or loop a string, and then try to find out whether that individual item is what you call oval or not. Then how to increment count is a second problem. Don't try to solve everything at one shot. Okay. చాలా మంది చేసే తప్పు ఏంటంటే ఈ ప్రోగ్రామ్ ఒకేసారి సొల్యూషన్కి వెళ్తాం, వద్దు. So try to find out how to write a loop where you get every character in a string. And now the next thing which you need to do is, if it is oval or not, each character try to find out. We have only 5 ovals, A, E, I, O, U, right? Now if it is oval, then what is it you need to do? That's it. Is it done, sir? Yeah. So all you had to do was, okay, iterating a string for C in S. Ad S రాసేటిగా మనం ఇది రాద్దాం. And then let me try to first print C to check whether it is working or not. మనకేంటి hello world. Okay. Let me try to write oval underscore count of hello world. I just want to print each of the items. Is it printing all of the items? Now over here, what is it I need to check? If it is oval. Okay. So now if C is equivalent to A, or let us try to create a dictionary, or let me try to write result. Result is equals to dictionary of what? A initially has 0 items. E initially has 0 items. O has 0 items. And then I రాయాలి కదా ఇక్కడ I and O 0 and U 0. And then if okay C is equivalent to A, then what is that I need to do? Result of A plus equals to 1. Did you understand this? Initially it will have 0, and if there is A, I am asking it to increment the count of A by 1. Okay. Now elif C is equivalent to E, result of E plus equals to 1. elif C is equals to I, result of I plus equals to 1. And then elif C is equivalent to O, then result of O plus equals to 1. elif C is equivalent to U, result of what is it? U plus equals to 1. Antena? And then finally return result. So what is that we'll get? Yeah. And what is it trying to tell us? If the count is 0, don't print them. Okay. If the count is 0, don't print them. If that is the case, start with a empty dictionary. Okay. And what you can do is result of A is equivalent to, okay, right. If A is an result, okay, A ganaka result lo unte, then result of A is equals to 1. Else result of A is equal to, first time అయితే 1 అసైన్ చేయండి, ఆ తర్వాత నుండి యాడ్ చేయండి. సో ఇఫ్ దర్ ఇస్ ఆల్రెడీ సంథింగ్ కాల్డ్ యాజ్ A, నౌ యూ హ్యావ్ టు అప్లై ద సేమ్ లాజిక్ ఫర్ ఆల్ ఆఫ్ దిస్. మన దీన్ని ఇంకోటి చేయొచ్చు, ఎలాగో C అవుతాయి కాబట్టి ఇక్కడ ఏది C పడేయచ్చు. We have said that if this condition comes into true when it is C is A. దీనివల్ల మనకు వచ్చే advantage ఏంటంటే, so the advantage of this is I can copy paste the same code everywhere else. This is not optimized. I am not trying to write the optimized version at first shot. Okay. Yeah, man. Oh. I've written result of this is copy paste issue. మొదట్లో C పెట్టాను, రెండో దాంట్లో A పెట్టాను. Now let me try to. Is that what is yes? E equals to 1 and O is equals to. And the next thing is, do I need to copy paste the same code multiple times? That is a foolish idea, right? Yeah. So all I need to do is, there is no need for me to write all of this nonsense. All I need to tell is ovals is equals to AE IO U. So if you want, since this is a constant, ovals, rather than writing this for, okay, oval in ovals, if C is equals to oval, then it's చూస్తాను complicated ఉంటుంది, but I have eliminated all the redundant code. And now let us try to see if this works. Are you getting the same thing now? Okay. So for example, now let me try to pass oval underscore count of how are you. So O is present 2 times, A is present once, E is present once, and U is present once. Yeah. So there is no need for you to write the right code at the first time. Once you try to see, there are certain things which are repeating. If you try to see, I have not started by writing the first version, which looks like this. Okay. Am I clear on this, sir? So don't try to write the optimized code. No one can do this. First you try to write the code, and then you will try to see what are the things that are frequently being changing. Okay. So initially, if you try to see, we have written too many lines of code. Then finally, we have converted all of this into a simple stuff, because there was some code that was reiterating. Okay. And we have learned that whenever some code is reiterating, we can easily reiterate with loops. ఇది రాయకముందు మన పరిస్థితి ఏంటి? If C is equal to A, same code. C is equals to E, same code. C is equal to I, same code. C is equals to O, same code. C is equal to U, same code. So then why do you want to write the same code multiple times? That's what I've done over. Okay. Am I clear on this, sir? Yeah. Right. Okay. You have written set. There is one interesting thing. Let us try to see. So this is one suggestion which I got for character in S, character in ovals. Count equals to 1. Count of what? I don't want complete oval count. I want an individual count. If it was a complete count, whatever you have written is wonderful. Okay. But I want a separate count, right? Yeah. So right now this program basically speaks about lowercase letters only, right? Yeah. Right. So even if it is capital case letter, we can convert all of the case into lowercase and then try to print all of them at one shot. Okay. ఒకవేళ మీది కేస్ ప్రాబ్లం ఉందనుకోండి, then what is that you need to do? S is equals to S dot lower. Now no matter whatever case which it is in, you will get all the things in a lower form. Am I clear on this? Yes. Now, even if you try to write, how are you? Okay. So if you try to see, I've given capital O, but it has converted that into a lower count and then it has printed the values. Okay, sir. So are we clear on this? Yeah. Mana cheyalem idi. Is there anything difficult? But what I've seen is people directly try to write this version. Actually, there is a better version in Python. నేను ఇంకా మీకు ఆ better version చూపిలా. Okay. But there is a better version of this in Python. You need not do all of this also. Okay. But at least whatever we have learned so far, this is the optimal thing which we can possibly do. Okay. Fine. Yes. So are we all set? కొంచెం బ్రెయిన్ ఈ మోడ్ అయిందా ఏమన్నా గేమ్కి వెళ్ళినప్పుడు ఫస్ట్ 2 రౌండ్లు ఏమంటారు దాన్ని ఏమంటారు వార్మప్ యా ఈజ్ వార్మప్ డన్ యా రౌండ్లు అంటే మళ్ళీ మంది అనుకున్నారు రైట్ ఫైన్ సార్ నౌ we will try to solve these problems, but let us try to solve these problems after learning certain things. Okay, right. Now the thing which I want to basically speak about is something called as list comprehensions. And then we will also have something called as dictionary comprehensions. And then there is one more thing which is called as lambda. Don't get me wrong with what you call AWS lambda. Okay, lambda is one way of basically trying to do it. These are 3 things which you will learn. Okay, so what these 3 things will do is they will simplify your code, or they will cut down your code. Okay, so the first thing which I want to basically look at is Python lambda function. Okay, but these days it is not recommended lambda functions. Okay, sir. Now what is a lambda function? At its very simple, generally whenever you are creating a function, what is that you are trying to do? Def, give the function name and then try to write the function. This is called as anonymous function. Anonymous function means this is a function which does not have any name to it. Okay, right. So all you try to write is you try to write lambda and then you try to write its functionality inside here. Okay, this is the expression lambda. Try to define arguments and try to do what it is. Okay, so now greet, he has written a lambda function and then he has said that it is print of whatever it is, and then he can use this lambda function wherever he wants, and lambda functions can take arguments also. Okay, right. Now a lambda function is a function without any name. Is a function without name, written in the format of what? Lambda, and generally it will have expression. And then you can also try to write lambda, okay, some argument and then expression. Okay, right. Fine, sir. So this is the first topic of lambda stuff. Why would I use lambda stuff? Lambda becomes useful whenever you are trying to do something called as list comprehensions. But first let us try to write lambda functions. Okay, this is problems. Okay, I don't want to touch this in problems. Okay, let me try to write down over here. So x is equals to, or lambda of x colon x star x. This is a function. Now what I'll try to do is I'll try to assign this to a variable which is called as square. Now let me try to call this lambda function by basically using square of 5. What is that I'm getting? 25. What has happened? Lambda of x. So that is square of x. So what is the expression? X into x. That is 5 into 5. So square of 10. Okay. So similarly, lambda, okay, and then number. And then I try to tell that number percentage 2 is equals to 0. And this I am assigning to a variable which is called as is even. Now all I have to do is even of 10. So 10 goes into number, and the expression is number when divided by 2. Is it giving me a return value, or is it equal to 0? Is even of దీనికి ఫంక్షన్ రాయని అవసరం లేదు, సింపుల్ ఎక్స్ప్రెషన్ రాస్తే సరిపోతుంది. Okay, so this is what lambda is all about. So lambda is writing simple functions. For example, you want to calculate cubes, so you will try to create something called as lambda x is equal to x star star 3. Okay, or I can try to write this lambda, okay, x comma n colon x star star n. So let me try to call this as power. So power of 5 comma 2. Are you clear on this, sir? This is what lambda is all about. Writing one line expressions. Okay. So for this you need not define formal functions. This is something which is called as lambda programming. Okay. Right. Are you clear on this? Yes. Okay. Now the next thing which I want to basically speak about is list comprehensions. So what is it? Okay, again, all of these things exist because they want to make your life easier, not complicated. Okay. Right. Refer here for samples. The basic reason why list comprehension exists are because they are easier way for you to construct a list. Okay. Right, sir. Now, if you try to look into it, they have written something like this. So what he basically tries to tell is list comprehension has an expression. So what is that expression? First is what is it you want to do? For what? Okay. Right. So expression for item in list if the condition is true. So let me try doing this. Okay. To simplify this, let us assume that I have numbers. Okay. And I have numbers which are in list of range of 1 to 101. Ante 101, 1 to 100. Yes or no? So now if I try to print numbers, I'll get all the numbers. Now in this what I want is, I want to calculate, okay, square of all of the numbers. What is it I want to do? Square of all of the numbers. So all I need to do, ideally what is it I need to do for number in numbers? Okay, then I need to create one more list, or basically change the items in the list. Numbers of 0 is equals to numbers of 0 star into star. అంతేనా? దీన్ని స్క్వేర్ చేయాలంటే ఏంటి? Let us try to take this scenario. Okay, let me write it. I have a list of numbers. Let us assume that let me not even make it complicated. 1, 2, and what I want to do is I want to calculate the square of numbers. So what is it I'll be trying to do? For number in numbers, or while ఏదన్నా చేయొచ్చు, వైల్ రాసి చాలా రోజులు అయింది కాబట్టి రాస్తున్నాను అంతే. While index is less than length of numbers, then I'll try to write numbers of index is equals to numbers of index into numbers of index. And now finally I'll try to print numbers. ఓ ఇది జన్మకి అవ్వదు. ఇండెక్స్ ప్లస్ ఈక్వల్స్ టు 1. Okay, so this is generally an approach to square all numbers in a list. You can try to do this from for also, there is nothing wrong. Okay, but what I am trying to do is I am trying to basically tell that, okay, numbers is equals to 1, 2, 3. Oh, I have a list, and now what is that this list comprehension is trying to tell? Expression for item in list. So what I'll tell is expression. What is my expression? My expression is item into item. అంతేనా? స్క్వేర్ క్యాలిక్యులేట్ చేయాలంటే అంతే కదా? ఫర్ ఐటమ్ ఇన్ did you understood? Whatever I have done on the top, I have done the same thing. Okay, but over here what is it I am trying to do? I am trying to go through the loop and all other stuff. You can do the same thing by trying to write the simple expression. So this is something which we will call as result. Print of so if you want to apply something on all of the elements, you can simply do this. What is that we have done? I am trying to get all the items, and for each item basically calculate squares. Okay, now calculate square for all even numbers. So let me tell that my numbers is equals to list of range of 1 to 20 అని పెడదాం ఏమైంది ఏదైతే ఏమైంది, and then print of numbers. So in all of these numbers what I want to do is I want to calculate the square of only even numbers. So ideally what is that I need to do? I need to basically in the traditional code I need to write while, okay, index is equals to 0, index while index less than the length of numbers. Okay, అంటే numbers అంటే 20 ఐటమ్లు ఉన్నాయి. Okay, just for you to understand I have written the list over here. This is what I mean by it. Okay, fine then. Now if, okay, let us assume that if numbers of index when divided by 2 will give me a return of 0, then what I want to do is I want to calculate numbers of index is equals to numbers of index into numbers of, am I clear on this, sir? So I would just want square of the numbers of even, rest of the things I don't want to touch. Okay, so if that is the case I'll basically try doing that. Okay, fine. Now I need to increment index. Now let me try to print of, so 2 has become 4, 4 has become 16, 6 has become 36, rest of the things are as it is. Okay, right. Now basically if I just want to print those even numbers but I want to remove odd numbers out, so then probably I might try to take new numbers is equals to an empty list. So then what I'll try to do, new numbers dot ఇలాంటిది ఏదో చేస్తాను అంతేనా? నాకు అసలు ఆడ్ నెంబర్లు వద్దనుకుంటే, సో I don't want odd numbers. If that is the case, then I'll be trying to print something like this. Do you agree with me on this, sir? Yes. So now the same thing I can achieve by trying to write, okay, item into item for item in range of 1 to 20. Okay. If item percentage 2 is equivalent to 0. So if you try to do this, you will do that for every element. But I am trying to do that for the elements only. So actually you are supposed to write this much of code. Now here what is that you have written? Simple stuff, which is list comprehension. Okay. So this does not exist in other languages. Yeah. If you are used to other programming languages, you will not see these expressions in other languages. These exist in the world of Python. Okay. Right. Now let me basically do this. Let me try to write over here. I have written list comprehensions. Okay. Conditionals in list comprehension. If else, list comprehension you can do with strings. You can do with nested list comprehension. Nested list comprehension మనకు అంత అవసరం లేదు, but yeah, if you want you can do this. List comprehensions versus lambda functions. Okay, right. So for example, I have a lambda function. Okay, and then whatever expression which you are trying to write is actually a lambda function over here. Okay, fine then. So what will I do is, let me basically go over here and let me try to basically look at this. Okay, is this interesting first of all? Because it reduces your expressions. Now, since anyway we have done that, on the top we had one list comprehension practice or something like that. Okay. So squares of even yeah, right. Fine then. So this is something which you can basically give it a try. Okay. Is it making sense, sir? Yeah. So all I have to do is I can reduce the complexity of my expressions, but it doesn't mean that the code has suddenly become simple. No, Python gives you this. Indirectly, it is you are doing the same thing. But rather than writing all of that, you are writing a simple expression. Okay, good. So this is what? List comprehension. So if this is list comprehension, we also have something called as, okay, so in list comprehension, we are dealing with one value. In dictionary comprehension, we'll be dealing with two values, which is key and value. So refer here for dictionary comprehensions. So what is the dictionary comprehension? This is my dictionary. Okay. So now basically, what is he trying to do? He is basically trying to go into this dictionary and square of dictionary. Okay. Right. Square of one is this. He's basically trying to build a dictionary where he is trying to tell that if for every number he's trying to calculate square of that, and 1 1 2 4, that is what he is trying to print, and there is no need for you to do that. You can conveniently use this expression. In list comprehension, you have used a square bracket notation. Here you will be using a curly bracket notation. This is key and this is value. Okay, right? So now basically let us try to use a better example. Okay, fine. Okay, now what is it? How to use dictionary comprehension? This is fine. Milk. Okay. కండిషనల్స్ ఆల్సో ఫైన్. నాకు బెటర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ కావాలి. ఓకే, టూ డిక్షనరీ కాంప్రహెన్షన్స్ ఎంత అవసరం లేదు, కానీ ఉన్నట్లో బెటర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఏమనిపిస్తుంది, ఏదో డాలర్ కన్వర్షన్స్ ఉన్నాయి కదా, రైట్. సో లెట్ us assume that I try to write, okay, now he has basically tried to return prices, and then here, okay, he's trying to tell that the price of milk is 1.02, price of eggs anta లేదా egg పాన్లెండ్ 7 ఉంటుంది, so 2.5. okay, let us assume that these prices are in dollars. Now you want to convert that into rupees. Okay, you want a new dictionary with rupee values. So ideally, what is that you need to take? You need to construct a new dictionary, and then you need to retain the same keys and different values. Okay. Now let's convert price into rupees. కొత్తగా యూఎస్ వెళ్ళామనుకోండి, మనం ఇదే పనిలో ఉంటాం. అరటిపండు $10, మీ 800 రూపాయలు పెట్టి అరటిపండు కొనుక్కోవడం అవసరమా? రైట్. సో ఇలాంటి లెక్కలే వేసి ఒకటి కథ అనుకోండి. ఓకే, now what you are supposed to do is just try to put a curly braces. In list comprehension we have put a square bracket. Now here we are putting a curly braces, and then here you are trying to basically write k comma k colon, okay, v into 83 అన్నాం, ఎందుకంటే ఇప్పుడు 83 రూపాయలు అనుకుందాం కరెన్సీ కన్వర్షన్ రేట్. ఓకే, now after that what is that you need to do? You need to write an expression for iterable. So what is an iterable here? So for k comma v in prices, okay, dot items. ఏదో మిస్ చేశాను నేను ఇక్కడ. ఇది రన్ చేయకుండా అది రన్ చేస్తే ఎలా వస్తుంది? ఆర్ యూ క్లియర్ on this, sir? Yes. Okay, now let us assume that I have a dictionary, okay, which is again something like items, and in this items I have an item called as keyboard. Okay, I have 0 items. Okay, mouse I have 10 items. Okay, and then let us assume that printers I have 5 printers. Okay, right. Now after this what I'm supposed to do is find all items where there is no stock. Okay, stock length ఏంటి ఇందులో? Keyboard has a 0 stock. That is what I want to print. Okay, but ideally there can be more than this. So what is it I'm trying to write? I am trying to write, okay, so you can try to call it as item colon, okay, value, okay, for item comma value in items. Okay, if value is equals to ఇందులో ఏం చేయను, find all items. What is that I missed? Too many values to unpack. Okay, items is equals to this k comma v. ఇది చేయాలిగా, రైట్? సో దీనికి కేవీలతో సంబంధం లేదు, బికాస్ ఐ వాస్ జస్ట్ ట్రై టు చేంజ్ ఇట్ బికాస్ ఇట్ వాస్ కన్ఫ్యూజింగ్ వాల్యూ అండ్ ఆల్ దట్ స్టఫ్. ఓకే, సో హియర్ నేమ్ కామా స్టాక్, నేమ్ కామా స్టాక్, అండ్ దీన్ని ఐటమ్స్ అని కాకుండా ఇన్వెంటరీ అన్నాం. వేర్ stock is equivalent to 0. Okay, right? So I can, let me try to see if I can do this. Okay, for I want a list. Okay, list of what? I want to write a list of name. For name comma stock in inventory dot items if stock is equals to 0. If you just want one value, you can also try to write a list comprehension over here. Okay, the choice is yours, sir. Fine రాసింది డిక్షనరీ కాంప్రహెన్షన్, ఇక్కడ కీ అండ్ వాల్యూస్. If you just want names of your keys, you can also write a list comprehension. So what this does is this completely cut down your code, and it looks like you have done a difficult thing in a simple one line. Are we clear on this, sir? Yes. Okay, so let us take a break. Okay, and then after coming from break, let us try to solve little bit of more problems. Is it interesting? Yes, because in other languages, if you have to do this, there is no other alternative. You have to iterate through everything. Okay, because of these kind of expressions in data science and machine learning, the Python is used. Okay, already they have decent expressions, and then there are some libraries such as NumPy and Pandas which take them to the next level, which make it extremely easy for processing data. Okay, so దానికి ఇలాంటి రీజనింగే కారణం. Okay, because if I have to achieve this in other languages, it is not this simple. It will not happen in one statement. Modern languages might be, but you can't do this in one statement in C, not in C sharp, neither in Java. It's not possible. Okay, lambdas you can still write it, and over here you can try to use lambda expressions with lists also, but generally prefer list and dictionary comprehensions whenever you are trying to pull out certain things. Okay, right, sir, let us go out for a break for 10 minutes and come back. Okay, right.
Bro, కొద్దిగా చూస్తాను నేను డిఫరెన్స్ వస్తాను కలిగా ఉన్నాయి అసలు కొద్దిసేపు వెయిట్ చేయకూడదు. అర్థమవుతుంది, నేను చెప్పినప్పుడు నేను ప్రాక్టీస్ చేయలేదు. అంటే అర్థమవుతుంది, చెప్పినప్పుడు అర్థం మాట్లాడాలని అనేది ప్రాక్టీస్ చేయాలి. అర్థమైతే అర్థమవుతుంది. అయిపోయింది సింపుల్గా సరే టూరిస్ట్ అబ్బాయి దూరేసిపోతాం.
Right, sir. So when you read the documentation of Python, you will, am I audible to the people of the web? Yeah. You will try to see something called as Python comes with batteries included. Okay, batteries included means there are lots of reusable functionality which Python gives you. That is something which we call as standard library. That is something which we call as standard library. So yeah, now if you try to look into this, there are loads of libraries which are available. Yeah. Now what is the standard library? Let me not basically get into this. Let me get into this Python standard library. If you try to see in Python, we have loads of things which are already available for us. So for example, there are many things which we were using comes as part of standard library. This is the case in many languages, but the same is true in terms of Python. Okay, right. So these are all the libraries which are existing. So for example, all the types which we were using so far. Okay, right. The different methods which we were trying to basically use. Now, this is a whole list, but if you try to see, these are the most widely used things. So there are OS modules. So using these OS modules, we can work with operating systems. There is a sys module, which can help us in dealing with command line arguments so that you can build command line functions. There are math modules. We all know that module is nothing but a file. Okay, standard library is collection of different packages and modules, and you can use that to achieve certain functionality. Okay, now what I'll try to do is let us try to look at oval count again. So this was our oval count program, right? Yeah. Let's revisit oval count. This is what we have done. Yeah, but I can completely reduce the complexity of it by using standard library. Okay, the first thing which I want to basically speak in this is there is something called as default dictionary. So what is it we have said? If the value is not in results, then try adding this. Let us try to see what is this default dict. Python default dictionary program is on the lather. Okay, fine. So generally, whenever we are trying to basically print a dictionary, okay. So if you try to look into it, whenever we try to access some value, we will be basically getting this. So whenever you are trying to use default dictionary, what would happen is, okay, default dictionary exists in a module which is called as collections. And now if the value is not present, it will not be harsh. You can basically directly assign the value to it. Okay. Now I have created a default dictionary and I start assigning values to it. Okay. Right. So now if you try to ask what is the default dictionary of A, it will tell 1. B, it will tell 2. C, it will tell 3. Okay. So how does this work out? You are basically trying to tell if it is present or not present, and then you will have missing. Okay, you can use the whole list as a default dictionary. You can pass the list and then it will try to tell you what is the value. So for example, in the list he has passed values. Okay, now you can use int as a default dictionary. Okay, now what I'll do is let me try to create oval is equals to AEIO, and then there is a module called as collections, and then from there I am importing something which is called as default dict. Okay, now x is equals to default dict of oval. Oh, I'm missing something. From collections, import default dict. Okay, what is it trying to tell? First argument must be callable. Okay, 1 minute. Default dict of string. Okay, all right. I don't want to create any of this. Default dict of oval. Oval రాసామనా? Default dict of 1, 2, 3. ఏదో తేడా జరుగుతుంది ఇక్కడ. Okay, if it doesn't work out, let me try taking this. Where is this? Okay, let me go over here. From collections, import default dict. This expression I'll try to, you will understand once you understand a concept called as package importing, which I'll be trying to speak about it. Now let me try to write default dict of A, E, I, O, U. Okay. Oval underscore dictionary is equals to. What is that I'm missing? First argument must be callable. Oh, right. My bad. Oval is equals to default dictionary of int. Okay. Because I have to tell what is the value type. Now let me try to print oval underscore dictionary. Okay. Right. So what it is trying to tell is whenever you try to basically print oval underscore dictionary of type list, then what you can do is you can basically try to append values. Okay. Default dictionary, you can start assigning values to it. Okay. Right. Now, ప్రస్తుతానికి ఇది ఇక్కడ పెడదాం. Now I'll try to speak about something called as counter. So there is something called as counter. So let us try to see what counter does. Python counter. Okay, are you seeing a Pythonic way to count objects? Okay. తప్పదా? ఇది కాకపోతే ఇంకోటి చూద్దాం ఇప్పుడు. Okay. Now over here, are you seeing count? If I want to count the number of items, what is it I'm trying to do? For count is equals to x dot elements, and then I basically try to count. So basically here you would get the item. So for example, I've written this. I have put it in counter of A, and then if I try to print x dot keys and then x dot I, I'll get both count and values. So if you try to see, 12 has appeared how many times, sir? 2 times. And basically 3 has appeared 2 times. 4 has appeared once. మన డిక్షనరీ చేసింది ఇదే అనుకుంటగా. Yes. So counter is equals to counter of geek for geeks. Now if you try to print, it is trying to tell that okay, basically if you try to print, what will be the output of it? G is basically present twice, E is present 4 times, and K is present 2 times, then S, then F and O and R. Okay. Now what I want to do is I want to combine these two things to basically find the count of words. Okay. Right. Now counter. Okay. Okay, I think I'll basically write it over. So default dictionary will have default values. Counter will basically try to count the elements of it. Now if I try to combine, I can heavily simplify this whole code. Let us try to look at this code. What is it I've done? Initially I said that the result is empty dictionary. Okay, since it was empty dictionary, I was basically passing values into it. Okay, if the value was not present, if it is for the first time, I was assigning 1. If it is for the second time, I was assigning this. Now what I want you to do is, okay, let us try to do this little bit of googling. You have come across this for the first time. Okay, right, let us try to do the steps. Okay, let's recreate oval count with default dict, comprehensions, okay, and counter. Okay, right, count, okay, uh, characters in a string. ఇది మీరేం కూడా రాయని అవసరం లా, నెత్తితే సరిపోతుంది. Okay, so now let me basically go over here and let me open Perplexity, count characters in a string using counter in Python. So what is he trying to tell? He's trying to tell from do this, and whenever you count, you basically get this. Am I clear on this, sir? So from collections, import counter, and then you have given the input string of hello world. Then you have basically said that give me the character count of this. So what is that you got? You got counter with these values, saying that okay, L appears 3 times, O appears 2 times, H appears 1 time. Okay, right. So shall we try to write that first? నేను ఏం చేయాలి, సిగ్గు లేకుండా కాపీ చేశాను అంతే. Okay, now here we are not actually doing the oval count, we are getting the count of everything. Now what is the next thing which I need to do? I need to basically find ovals inside this. Okay, right. Now what is it I want? I want dictionary. Okay, so for dictionary comprehension, do I need to use this? Yes, for k comma k colon v. Okay, for k comma v in character count, if k in a e I o ఓకే, ఇక్కడ ఏం మిస్ చేసాం మనం? ఓకే, let us try to use character underscore count in dictionary comprehension. So all I need to do is I need to basically write నేను ఏం తప్పు రాశాను ఇందులో? For k comma v, మనం రాసిన ఎక్స్ప్రెషన్ ఏం తేడా ఉంది సార్? ఓకే, నేను ప్రతిసారి ఈ దరిద్రమే చేస్తున్నాను. The only thing which I messed up over here is dot items. So now if you basically try to look at this whole oval count, okay, if you use default dictionary you can have empty values, but I can resolve that without default dictionaries. Now what is it I need to do? By looking at these two functions, let me try to define the same function, oval count, but over here I am going to use from collections import counter and then define oval count. Now Right, sir. What is it I need to do? I need to basically find the what do you call character
చూస్తున్నావా?
okay, and then
అప్పుడు
return. ఓకే, ఈ కేవీలు అసహ్యంగా ఉంటాయి కాబట్టి ఫర్
నేను ప్రొఫెసర్లకి పైథాన్ మీద లెక్చర్ ఇచ్చినాను.
క్యారెక్టర్ కోలన్ కౌంట్, ఫర్ క్యారెక్టర్ కోలన్ కౌంట్. ఓకే, if character in AAY. So generally whenever you have a multi-line stuff, right, what you can do is you can break this statement into multiple lines. ఇప్పుడు మనం దీన్ని చేస్తానికి ఓ పెద్ద సర్కస్ రాసాం ఇక్కడ. ఇఫ్ యూ రిమెంబర్ అవర్ ఫస్ట్ వర్షన్ we had if, elif a, elif o, elif u, we have done many things. Now as and we know more Python, what is that we are trying to do? We are trying to achieve the same thing. There is no difference in terms of functionalities. Okay, so now character input of ikkada yes vadali, input string there. Okay, now what was the example of the vowel count which we have used? Sir paiki veldam. Vowel count ఏ ప్రాబ్లం సార్? Factorial, list comprehension, dictionary, inverted dictionary. Third one, మన ఇందులోనే పైకి వెళ్దాం. వీడు ఒక ఎగ్జాంపుల్ తీసుకుని ఉంటాడుగా ఓవెల్ కౌంట్ లో. యా, సిక్స్త్ వన్. ఓకే, స్ట్రింగ్ మ్యానిపులేషన్. ఓకే, సో నౌ string manipulation. So if I try to calculate oval count of hello world, there is nothing wrong in what we have written earlier, but this is more Pythonic way. And if you try to see, the expressions have largely come down, right? అసలు నేను ఇక్కడ లూప్ రాసినట్టు ఉందా? So it doesn't appear as if I have written a loop, but actually you have. Whenever you are trying to see the statements, that is a dictionary comprehension. And then to find the individual item count, I have used something called as counter, because these kind of methods exist. That's the reason this is the whole fun of standard library. Okay, so once you use this list comprehensions, once you get used to this standard library functions, then you can largely simplify the amount of code which you are writing. But it doesn't mean that your logic has got simplified. No, your logic has got a simple expression. Ikkada kuda for each item we are finding the count, but rather than you finding the count, there is one class which is available which can do it for you. That was a counter. And then after that, once you basically try to count, it will count for everything. Now you are not counting for everything. You are basically trying to tell that I want the count for only ovals. So that's the reason you have written a dictionary comprehension. Okay, మీరు ఇలా రాసినా తప్పేమి లేదు అందులో. There is nothing wrong in doing this, but a person who knows Python would do this. Okay, right? A person who initially starts with Python does this, but eventually as he learns more, he ends up here. Okay, that is a basic difference. Are we clear on this? Does it sound interesting? Yeah. Okay, fine. Ideally I was supposed to basically what you call try to speak about a little bit of more conceptual things, but let us not do that. Let us try doing this. Okay, so what is it I want? I want sum of digits. Just have a look at these problems, and then some of these problems will be something which we will be trying to create in the we will be trying to work in the class in today. Okay, today evening I said that, right, we will have a debugging session and all that stuff. Let us try to look at this, but all I want is I want you to do this. ఇప్పుడు మనకి ఇది కష్టమా? లెటర్ ఫ్రీక్వెన్సీ అనేది పెద్ద పదం ఇచ్చాడు. ఏం చేయాలి దీన్ని? స్ట్రింగ్ ని కౌంటర్ లోకి పడేస్తే అదే ఇస్తుంది లెటర్ ఫ్రీక్వెన్సీ. అవునా? ఎగ్జాక్ట్గా అదేగా జరిగింది. సో టు ఫైండ్ లెటర్ ఫ్రీక్వెన్సీ ఐ నీడ్ నాట్ యూజ్ ఎనీథింగ్ ఫ్యాన్సీ. ఆల్ యూ నీడ్ టు డూ ఇస్ జస్ట్ పాస్ ద స్ట్రింగ్ ఇన్ టు ద కౌంటర్. Okay. Now let us try to understand how that standard library is working, and then we will try to get into that functionality. Okay, right. So we have lots of things to do, but fine. Let us try to understand. Let's understand modules and packages. Package needs a little bit of more stuff, but let me try to do it. Okay, right. So why do we use Python, sir? We use Python to build applications. And what your application could be, it can be a mobile application which runs on your phones. It could be a web application which runs on servers, or it could be a command line application, or it could be a desktop application. If you categorize all of your applications, these are the four major categories. Certain things run on server, some things run on desktops or mobile phones. Okay, right? So for example, Qt video player is a desktop application because you have to install it on your system. Okay, but whenever you want to run any website, we are dealing with something that runs on the server side. Similarly, whenever you want to check if your internet is working or not, what you do is you immediately open a command prompt and you might be trying to type something like, okay, am I able to ping google.com? This is a command line application. Okay, so on a broader note, these are the three categories of applications. Applications which run on your desktop, applications which run on command line, and applications which run on servers serving to requests. Okay, so eventually we need to basically focus on server side applications and command line applications. Endukante automation lo runnit pani. We are skipping the desktop and UI part. Okay, so if you come from a little bit of programming background, what you can do is if you learn React.js, you will learn how to build the front end applications on web pages. Okay, in Python there is something called as okay, so PyQt, right? So what you can do with respect to this is you can build desktop applications, something like Qt video player. If you want to build, then you need some buttons on which works on Windows and all that stuff. Okay, so for that you can use this Qt. Okay, right, but we are not getting into that. The point is I want to build a module, and I want to basically speak about a package. Okay, module is something which you have done yesterday itself, or in the yesterday night we have written something called as utils.py and main.py. Okay, right. So now what I'll do is let me basically go over here, exit, make dir. Okay, I'll try to call it as programs, cd programs. Let us assume that now I am trying to basically build an application. Make dir I am trying to build a calculator, simple calculator, nothing fancy about it. Okay, now so let me get into calculator and let me try to open the code. So I can try to write all of my code in one Python file. I can try to write all of my code in one Python file. That is something called as calc.py. When you call that, it will ask you options and then it will try to basically do it. So first let me try to write that calc.py. Okay, right, and then I'll try to write. ఓకే, దీనికి సమరీలో అవసరం లేదండి, ఎందుకంటే నేను ఉంచాల్సింది ఇది కాదు. ఓకే, సో ఐల్ ట్రై టు రైట్ ఇఫ్ double_name is equals to double_main. That means this gets called when someone executes my code directly, and here I'm trying to create a function called as main. This is where I've called the function. So before you have to define the function before it is called. So define main. Now here I will try to ask, okay, number_1 is equals to int of input of enter your number. Then I try to write number underscore 2 is equals to this. Now choice is equals to input of enter your choice. Okay, and the choices options which I am trying to give is you can enter plus, you can enter minus, you can enter star, and you can enter divide. These are the options which I am trying to tell. So in the input, user has to give one of the plus, minus, star. So then I'll try to write if choice is equivalent to plus, then I'll try to tell that print of, okay, we know format strings now. So number 1, choice will have plus or minus or whatever it is. Okay. Number 2 is equivalent to, okay. Let me try to calculate result. Result is equals to number 1 plus number 2. So this is something which I am trying to write it as result. Now elif choice is equivalent to minus. If the user enters minus, then I am trying to enter this. There is no difference in this command. So that's the reason I am copying and pasting. Never copy paste the code. Okay. But still I am doing it because I'll try to copy paste and then I'll try to tell you the resolution. And then elif choice is equivalent to result is equals to number 1 into number 2. Yes. And finally, elif choice is equals to slash. Okay. Result is equal to, let us do integer division. Number 1 divided by, or not divided by, let me try to do number. And then if you try to see for all the statements, I have this as a value. Okay. Right. Fine then. So what is the way to fix it? Either write 1 times or create a function. Okay. ఒకసారి రాయగలిగితే అన్నిటికీ కలిపి ఒకసారి రాయండి. లేదు అనుకుంటే అట్లీస్ట్ ఒక ఫంక్షన్ డిఫైన్ చేయండి. So here all you have to do is just take this. Are you seeing this? To create a function out of a line. Right click, and are you seeing something called as refactor? Just click on refactor, extract method, and then try to call it as print underscore result. అయిపోయిందా? దాన్ని వాడే ముందు ఉండాలి. Okay. Now wherever you are trying to pass this, all you have to do is it looks like you are repeating the code, but actually you are not repeating. You are calling the reusable code. How many times did you write it? Once you have written it, 4 times you have called it with different values. Okay. Now, finally, else print wrong operator used. And if the user has not used plus, minus, star and slash, that means that he has selected the wrong operator. So that is what I am trying to do in else. And now if I want to run this program only once, I'll leave it like this. But if I want to continuously ask the user, I'll try to put a while loop. While the choice is equals to y, whatever we have done. Now this is something which I've done like this. Now let me try to say Python calc.py, enter the number 10, enter the number again. Okay, let me try to put 12. So what is it you want to do? I want to
minus 12.
multiply. So 10 into 12 is equals to 120. This is the result which I got. Yeah, my program has exited. Okay, there is nothing wrong in writing like this, but this way is not sensible for all of the programs. It will not work out. అసలు ఇలా రాత్రం పనిచేయదు ఎందుకంటే as your calculator becomes complicated. Now let us assume that I want you to implement some more functionalities into your calculator. So that is, I want to implement power, I want to implement square root. So you will be continuously copying and doing the same work. Am I clear on this, sir? So I need reusability. So how to make this look clean? Okay, just try to look at this program. What is that we are trying to do? We are trying to take user inputs and then we are doing mathematical calculations. Antena? We are trying to take user inputs and then we are trying to take mathematical calculations. That could be plus, that could be minus, that could be divided by, or whatever it is. So now what I'll try to do is, generally what companies do is they try to create different modules for it. So they will be trying to create calculations dot py. Okay, now over here he is defining a module, and in this module he will try to tell that this module has reusable functions for mathematical calculations. Are you clear on this, sir? Now over here he can try to tell define add of, okay, star arcs. Okay, so for if I, because he is writing a reusable function and you can add multiple values. Okay, so for that reason open ila vaddu anukunte add of మనం రెండే చేద్దాం, అంతవరకు మనకు వద్దు. number 1 and number 2. So over here return number 1 plus number 2. I am not writing doc strings, sir. Ideally you should be definitely writing doc strings here. Okay, now I think అదేనే ఉంది దీని బాధ. ఓన్లీ ప్రస్తుతానికి ఎంటీ పెట్టేద్దాం. యా రైట్. డిఫైన్ subtract of number 1 comma okay, right. So this will return number 1 minus number 2. Okay, sir. Now define multiply of number 1 comma number 2. So మనం పెద్ద గొప్ప పని ఏం చేస్తలేదు. ఐఎమ్ ట్రైంగ్ టు రైట్ ఇట్ ఫర్ ఎ వెరీ సింపుల్ క్యాల్కులేటర్. సో రిటర్న్ number 1 into number 2. So define division of number 1 comma number 2. Okay, and then finally they are basically returning number 1 divided by number 2. Make sense, sir? And finally I have to leave one extra line. So in this function, what is it I have defined? I have defined all the utilities, okay, or all the helper functions. So this is a module which has functions. When you execute this, nothing will happen. దీన్ని ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ చేస్తే ఏమవుదు. సో ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఇఫ్ యూ ట్రై టు ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ python calculations.py, nothing will get executed because everything is existing inside the functions. The basic use of this is for others to use this. This cannot execute on its own. Now let me try to create something called as calculator kada. So menu dot py. Okay, ఏదో పోనీ calci dot py. calci ఉంది కదా ఆల్రెడీ. సో let me try to call it as app.py. ప్రస్తుతానికి మన దాని అప్లికేషన్ అనుకుందాం. So in this application I'm going to use calculations. So in calculations how many methods do I have, sir? 4 methods do I have. So will it be 4 forever? ఎప్పుడు 4 ఉంటాయా? ఫ్యూచర్లో పెరగచ్చు. So for example, if I want to bring in all the methods from calculations.py to use inside this, what I need to do is import calculations. Okay, and whenever I want to use any function, all I have to do is calculations dot, and then I can use add, and then I can basically try to pass 5 comma 6. So this is the first way of importing. You import, and whenever you are importing any function which you want to use, you have to use the module's name and then do it. So now if you try to run this program, you'll get 11 as an answer. We know that. I'm not worried about answers over here. So for example, I don't want all. I want to only get add function. అన్ని ఇంపోర్ట్ చేయాల్సిన అవసరం లేదు, నేను ప్రస్తుతానికి యాడే వాడుకుంటాను. So as of now I'm using only add. So then in that cases what we'll try to do is from calculations import add. So even though there are 4 methods inside that, I want only add at this point of time. The advantage of using that is I can directly call add now. There is no need for me to use calculations dot add. Okay, so add of 5 comma 6. Are we clear on this, sir? But I can't use subtract of sub of 5 comma 6 because I have not imported. So let us assume that I want add and subtract also. Just try to put add comma. Okay, right. So some of the people basically from calculators import star. So now you can use add of 10 comma 20, subtract of 20 comma 10, multiply of 10 comma 10, divide of 10 comma 10. Okay, but this is not considered as a good practice. Okay, right. Why? Okay, ఇదేమన్నా గుర్తుందా పొరపాటున? Right. So in this, are you saying explicit is better than implicit? So whenever you want to import everything, never use this syntax. Be explicit. Import calculations, or try to write from calculations import all the methods explicitly. This is what that stuff means. Okay, now or else from calculations import add comma subtract comma multiply comma. Are we clear on this, sir? So this is what you would try to see. ఇలాంటి ఫంక్షనాలిటీ మనం ఇందాక ఒకటి రాసాం, from collections import counter. Because in collections there are many things, we are using something called as counter from there. Okay, but that collections was not written by us, it was the standard library. It was the standard library. Are we clear on this method, sir? Yes? Okay, right. So are we clear on this? Yeah, okay. So this is something which I am not writing in the notes. This is something which I want you to understand, how to write import statements. So you can try to write import module's name, right? Or you can be basically trying to write import from module import whatever you want. Okay, but I have still not defined what a package is. This is still module. Okay, right. Okay, then what is a package? Okay, a package is nothing but collection of modules, or on a very logical note, it is nothing but a folder. Okay, so now from calculator, what I've done is I'll try to basically write calculations or calculations and everything calculations. And now for in this folder I am adding a strangely looking file. Okay, let me know. Okay, Rashid. Strangely looking file which is double underscore init dot. What is it? I have a folder, and inside the folder I have a strangely looking file which is called as double underscore init dot. Then that folder becomes a package. అప్పుడు ఆ folder ఏమవుద్ది? Package అవుద్ది. Right. Now let me try to create something called as math.py. ఇవన్నీ ఏంటి? మ్యాథమెటికల్ ఫంక్షన్సేగా. పోనీ అర్థమెటిక్ అందాం. So this module consists of arithmetic calculations. Probably inside this I might be writing financial dot py. Probably in here I am writing financial calculators. So something like define simple interest of PTR. Okay, I am trying to write pass. Pass basically means that I have not written the function yet. I'll be trying to basically write it at a later point of time. That is a syntactical stuff. Interest of PTR. We already have code for that. I could have used that, but I'm basically trying to tell. Now, let me remove all of this. Now I have my application. So in my application, what I'll try to tell is from or import calculations dot arithmetic. And now if I want to use add calculations dot arithmetic dot, ఇలా రాయటం కష్టం అవుద్ది కాబట్టి, so what I'll do is from calculations dot arithmetic import add, from calculations dot financial import, or is it making sense, sir? So what is the difference earlier and now? This is a package, and what is the package as of now? Package is nothing but a folder, and in that folder you will see strangely looking file which is called as double underscore init dot py. Then it becomes a package. Now what you can do is inside the package you can try to write modules. I can try to create some package which is called as complex, and inside this I am trying to create one more file which is called as double underscore init dot py. This is called as sub package. Okay, and in this let me try to basically write scientific dot py. Now over here let me try to define something like I calculate. Okay, scientific calculators ఏముంటాయి సార్? ఏదో ఒక వాల్యూ చెప్పండి. ఎక్స్పోనెంట్, ఎక్స్పోనెంట్ కాదు, ఎందుకు గూగుల్లో అడుగుతాం, మనం కోడ్ రాయిపోయినా అట్లీస్ట్ మెథడ్లు అన్నా కరెక్ట్ ఉండాలిగా. సైంటిఫిక్ క్యాలిక్యులేటర్ మెథడ్స్ ఏమిడితే ఇందులో సైన్ కాస్ టానా. ఓకే, పోనీ అదే రాద్దాం. డిఫైన్ సైన్ ఆఫ్ x. I am not trying to write code over here. Okay, now if I want to use this, what is it I'll be trying to tell? From calculations dot complex dot scientific import. Am I clear on this, sir? Because I have a package called as calculations. Inside that there is one more sub package which is called as complex. So generally whenever your organizations are creating the code for Python, they create packages because you can distribute them, because packages can be distributed. Okay, Fine, sir. Now, what I want to do is, ఏదన్నా ఒక ఇంట్రెస్టింగ్ ప్యాకేజ్ తీసుకుందాం. Let us ask Perplexity. Okay. Give me some fun Python package to use at ఓకే రైట్. ఇక్కడ ఎంఓజీ అనేదో పైథాన్ లైబ్రరీ ఉంది. ఇందులో ఏముంటుందో కూడా నాకు తెలియదు. సో దిస్ ఇస్ అ ప్యాకేజ్ విచ్ ఇస్ రిటర్న్ బై సమ్వన్. నౌ ఐ వాంట్ టు యూజ్ ఇట్ ఇన్ మై సిస్టమ్. ఐ కెన్ డూ దట్. సో వాట్ ఐ నీడ్ టు డూ ఇస్ emoji python package. వీడు ఉన్నాడు ఎవడో ఎమోజీ అని క్రియేట్ చేశాడు. ఇంపోర్ట్ ఎమోజీ అండ్ ప్రింట్ దిస్ అంటే వస్తుంది. ఓకే, బట్ ఈస్ దిస్ ప్యాకేజ్ పార్ట్ ఆఫ్ స్టాండర్డ్ లైబ్రరీ? నో, దిస్ ఇస్ రిటర్న్ బై సమ్వన్ ఎల్స్. ఓకే, రైట్. నౌ ఫ్రమ్ పైథన్ I can basically go to AWS and create anything. Okay, so let us try to see what is this Boto 3. So Boto 3 is a Python package which is written so that you can try to write Python code to do anything in AWS. To do anything in AWS. So similarly you have Azure SDK for Python where you can try to install all of that package and do anything in Azure. In the same way Google SDK. So all of the companies basically give packages to you. And packages are generally used in the form of two things. One is library, the other one is framework. One is library, the other one is framework. Okay. Now let us assume what we have decided is you and me wanted to build a website in Python. Em cheyalanunna? Website cheyalanunna. But now when I want to write a website, where should I run it? I should run it on a server. And when you run on a server, what will user do? User will try to browse by typing http:// whatever your URL is. Okay. So for example, just like how you are accessing directdevos.blog, someone might hit that and that should come and hit my code. ఈ మొత్తాన్ని మనం సొంతంగా రాత్తం మొదలెడితే 3 ఏళ్ళు ఓన్లీ సర్వర్ రన్ చేస్తానికి పడుతుంది. అంతేనా? Because there is no point in basically doing that. Now from your Python code, you want to connect to the database. So if you start writing how to connect to MySQL database by opening a protocol library and then start building all of that, it will never happen. So what generally happens is we have libraries. And now if I want to build a Python application, probably on a to build a web interface, I might be using a library which is called as Django. But this is something which is considered as a framework, not a library, because it helps you to build some kind of applications. Okay. Now if I want to build something called as APIs, I might have something called as Fast API or Flask. And what are all of this? At its very core, they are all packages. At its very core, they are all packages. Am I clear on this, sir? So first of all, do we understand what a package is? Complex to us, there is nothing in package. It is a folder with something called as _init.py. Now let me try to look into the code of GitHub. Fast API. వాడు ఏమన్నా సావనండి, మనకి ఇవన్నీ అనవసరం. ఓకే, సో ఇఫ్ యూ ట్రై టు లుక్ ఇన్ టు దిస్ ఇన్సైడ్ దిస్ ఫాస్ట్ ఏపీఐ ఆర్ యూజింగ్ _init.py అంతే. సో దట్ ఫాస్ట్ ఏపీఐ is a package. It might be complex, simple. That's a different. Let us try to understand it in a simple way. In this, are you saying there is something called as open API? అందులో _init.py ఉందా? So what is this? This is a sub package. So whenever you are using this libraries, you might be writing from fast API dot open API, right? Dot middleware, dot dependencies, dot security. And when they have something called as _init.py, that means that is a package. The package can be a root package or a sub package. A package can be a root package or a sub package. ఇక్కడ వరకు అర్థమైంది కదా? రకరకాల ప్యాకేజీలు ఉన్నాయి, ఏవి దేనికైనా తర్వాత ఎడుద్దాం. So do we understand the difference between module and a package now? So what will module contain? Only one file. What will package contains? Multiple modules. And package can contain sub packages inside. Sub packages inside it. Okay. Now, without understanding what that code does, let me basically try to show you this. Okay, create. Okay, fine. Write a Python program using Boto 3 to create S3 bucket. I am not interested in program. I am interested in package here. So I think is somehow getting package. And then let us try to see what he does. From Boto 3 dot exceptions. Import client. So what is that he is trying to do? There is something called as Boto core, some folder, some package. Inside that package, there is one more package which is called as exceptions. From that, he is basically importing certain thing which is called as client. Are we clear on this, sir? Yeah. Now, write a Python code to expose a simple REST API using fast API. Don't worry about the terminology which I'm using. I'm only worried about expressions in terms of import and from. So I think there is something called as fast API, and inside from fast API, he is directly getting fast API and HTTP exceptions. Okay, indulo dot leave kada. Okay, right. Write a Python program to create GCS bucket, Google Cloud Storage bucket. So from google.cloud, import storage. What does this mean? There is a package, and then from that package, we are basically getting a specific method called as storage. So write a Python code to create Azure storage. Again, I'm not worried about how to get all of that. I'm only worried about this. From Azure.identity. Okay. From that, he is getting default Azure credential. So just like how we have done from calculators.scientific or something like that. Calculators.arithmetic. Import add. He is also importing certain things. Are we clear on this? Okay. I am not worried about the functionality. I'm only worried about these statements. Do we understand them now? So what is the difference between import and from import? Do we understand that? Yes. Okay. Now let me try to show you one last thing and we'll finish our discussion. Let me try to go with complex, and over here let me try to create one more thing which is called as simple. Okay. So in simple also I have scientific dot py. ఇప్పుడు మనకున్న సమస్య ఏంటి సార్? కాంప్లెక్స్ లోని scientific.py ఉంది. So if you try to look into complex, also I have scientific.py, and simple also I have scientific.py. Okay. Now in that cases, how do I resolve that? So I'll try to write from calculations dot simple dot scientific as yes. Okay. So right from and okay from with alias Python. Importing in Python with okay. Right. Are you saying import module name as okay? Import module name as. Are you saying we are basically trying to give a different stuff over here? Okay. So what I'll try to do is I'll try to tell import calculations dot complex dot scientific as C scientific. Now I'll be trying to tell C scientific dot. Okay. Now let us assume that in this also I have something called as sine of x. Now what I can do is I'll go to app.py and import calculations dot simple dot scientific dot. Okay, make a complex SCS అని పెడదాం. ఇది SS అని పెడదాం. మీకు నచ్చిన పేర్లు ఇచ్చుకోండి, మీ పేర్లు రాసుకోండి అక్కడ. ఇట్ డజంట్ మ్యాటర్. సో CS dot sine, this refers to complex sine. SS dot sine, this refers to the simple sine. You can have same methods, but you can basically use all of them by using this aliases. Sometimes you might see people using aliases to do two things when you have something like this. The other thing is, let us assume that in this I have written a method name which is define, okay, testing with lenses on అని ఏదో దీని అర్థం ఏంటో కూడా నాకు తెలియదు, నేను ఊరికే రాసాను ఏదో. Right? So every time me doing this kind of stuff will become difficult for me to write that whole function. So what I'll write is import, okay, so from calculations dot complex scientific లో దేంటి రాసాం, రాసిన వాళ్ళు మీకే తెలియకపోతే మాకెలా తెలుస్తుంది అంటారా? రైట్, కాంప్లెక్స్ డాట్ సైంటిఫిక్ డాట్ import testing with lenses on as T with L. So whenever I want to call that testing with lenses, I will not be doing all of that. I will be using this short notation. Okay, నాకు ఆ పేరు నచ్చలే, అంత రాయబుద్ధి అవట్లేదు నాకు. So for some reason that name is looking too much complicated. So then in that cases I can give an alias name. Okay, so in Python, whenever you are trying to use someone else's functionalities, you will be basically always using that import and from statements. Do we understand them at a high level? Yeah. So now if I want to be academic with respect to it, I need to speak about method, resolution order, classes and all that stuff, but we have not spoken about it. But in the evening what we will have is, let us have a debugging session, okay, where we will try to solve some problems, and I will also give you some problems where there are some mistakes and you are supposed to fix them. Okay, and it will be a debugging session, and let us see how it goes. Yeah, right. But it is raining continuously and attendance is low. Attendance low అన్నది రెయిన్ కారణం కాకపోవచ్చు కూడా. అందులో ఒకళ్ళు ఇద్దరు వానకు భయపడి ఉంటారు, మిగతా అందరూ శరీరానికి ఇదై ఉంటారు. అంటే శరీరానికి కూడా కాదు, శరీరానికి ఏమవుతావు ఏంటి, మీకు చేతపడి చేసే వాళ్ళకి లొంగిపోతాం కదా. సిక్స్త్ సెన్స్ సినిమా చూసారా? అది హిప్నోటిజం చేయగానే వీళ్ళందరూ మాటికి నెత్తుంటారు. రైట్, అలాగా మనకి బ్రెయిన్ చెప్తుంటది ఆదివారం పొద్దున్న క్లాస్ ఏంటి పడుకోక. రైట్, ఎన్ని చదువులు చదివినా సుఖం లేనప్పుడు ఎందుకు చదువు అనిపిస్తుంది. రైట్, సో దానికి లొంగిపోయిన వాళ్ళు ఎక్కువ ఉండొచ్చు. రైట్, fine sir, but are we clear on this? Yeah, so generally whenever we are trying to deal with single line programs, we need not deal with all of this, but you and me will not be dealing with single line programs. So let me tell you a use case. All of us are DevOps engineers, right? So whenever a CI/CD pipeline fails, what your company has said is, if the CI/CD pipeline fails, you are supposed to raise a Jira ticket, okay, automatically, not manually. Then what will you do? So for example, let me quickly show you this. Okay, so idoti చూపిస్తున్నాను మీకు, so that you will get an idea of what you are getting into. The basic reason is you have a DevOps pipeline. Okay, right, come on. Okay. Now let me get into Azure DevOps organizations, my Azure DevOps organizations, and Learning Thoughts EDU. This is one of the organizations which I have. I'm just showing you a simple library, a simple pipeline. Okay, right. So are you seeing pipelines? And now if this pipeline fails for some reason, what I want is I want to raise a defect. Elagidi? Whose work is this? Developers or DevOps engineers? ఖచ్చితంగా డెవలపర్ పని కాదు. డెవలపర్ పని కోడ్ రాస్తాం, వాడు రాసాడు. Now you tell me how will you do that? There is no other way apart from writing code. Okay, whether it is simple, complex, whatever, that is a secondary story. Okay, now somehow you have to basically, whenever it goes wrong, for example, something has gone wrong over here, what should happen? A defect should be raised. Okay, ఇలాంటి కేసులు ఎవరికైనా రావచ్చు. Okay, right? And sometimes what one of our student, what has happened is they said that, okay, let us do one thing. Whenever we try, we will have a pull request which is successful, or whenever there is a git commit which is successful, I want that commit history to be stored in our database. ఆ గిట్ కమిట్ హిస్టరీని డేటాబేస్ లో స్టోర్ చేయమన్నాడు. అంటే ఎందుకో వాడుకుంటాడు, ఎందుకన్నా మనకు తెలియదు. నవ్వు ఇది ఎవరు చేయాలి? Are you clear on this, sir? This was actually done in one of the projects. Why? Because they are trying to write some logic around it. They are building some applications around it. Now who should do this? And how will you do that? లేదంటే ఇది నా పని కాదు, డెవలపర్ చేసుకోవాలని తెమలదు. ఇట్ ఈస్ నాట్ మై వర్క్, యూ కెనాట్ సే, బికాస్ ఇట్ ఈస్ నాట్ అప్లికేషన్ ఫీచర్, ఇట్ ఈస్ అ టూలింగ్. It is tooling. Okay, right? So now for doing all of these things in DevOps, generally your organization will have very less people who are capable of doing this. Okay, and generally the DevOps people who are capable of writing little bit of coding, they will be, they are consistently getting hikes, because I speak with lot of students who have been placed, who have learned a little bit of coding. Okay, we are trying to learn the coding in a right way. So for example, writing doc strings, making it look beautiful and all of that stuff. If you try to write this kind of quality code in the area which you belong, then it would be great. అడవి ప్రాంతాల్లో ఉన్న ఆర్ఎంపీ డాక్టర్కి హైదరాబాద్ మొత్తానికి ఉన్న పెద్ద బిగ్గెస్ట్ కార్డియాలజిస్ట్ కన్నా పేరు ఎక్కువ ఉంటుంది. అవునా కదా? ఎందుకంటే అక్కడ ఎవడో ఉండవు, ఆయన ఉన్నాడు. మీరు అలా అయ్యే అవకాశం ఉంది అంటున్నాను. The point is, because lot of people in DevOps, they know little bit of scripting, they can manage shell scripting and all that stuff, but they can't do extensive stuff. Okay, that is what makes you irreplaceable. Okay, now if necessary, you should be able to fix the defects also, because once you understand coding, pull request lo emuntadi at code ga change chesedi, ఏ లాంగ్వేజ్ అన్నా యాడ్ అవ్వండి, ఏదో రాసి ఉంటాడు, ప్లస్ ఈక్వల్ టు మైనస్ ఈక్వల్ టు కాల్స్ రాసి ఉంటాడు. We will be able to at least understand that. You'll be able to at least understand. That is the whole reason why we do this activity. Okay, the same thing stands out for any cloud engineer or any DevOps engineer. Very few people entertain coding. That is a gap which you have. That is the opportunity which you are trying to grab. Okay, so in addition to all of the other tools, you should be very good with this. Yes. Okay, so there will be definitely, there is one whole area that is coming up which is called as platform engineering. So if you try to look into what is the platform engineering, the basic idea is, for you, your developer is a customer. For developer, whatever you are doing is a black box. Whatever work which you are doing, you will expose as an API, and developer should be able to use it. And me customer developer, right? If you want something, you should be able to build it. Let it be a custom tool, let it be a pipeline, let it be anything. So these are they are building something called as internal developer platforms. And for doing all of this, you need to do this. This is the next thing that is having decent potential in DevOps. It is not different from DevOps. It is basically an extension to it. Okay, so this is the area where future is getting into. ఈ ప్లాట్ఫామ్ ఇంజనీర్ లో నాకు కమ్యూనిటీస్ వచ్చాయంటే చాలా మందికి వచ్చంటారు. ఓకే, దిస్ ఇస్ వాట్ ఈస్ హ్యాపెనింగ్. సో try to basically learn these things. It is not that difficult. It comes with practice. Yeah, right. But the point is, again, I'm trying to tell, if you write this, wonderful. But at least be in a position to write. Okay, without writing this, you can never directly write this. Okay, and then there is no point in basically trying to rewrite the examples which I have written. Okay, choose రాయద్దు, చూడకుండా అయితే ప్రయత్నం చేయండి. And then I have given approximately 25 problems today. You can try any problems to that. Okay, so look into classroom record. Okay, sir. అంతే సంగతులు చెత్తగించవాలి, వాళ్ళకి అయిపోయింది ఇంకా. Right. Did we learn something today? Yes. Okay. So as and when we basically go from day to day, we'll be basically adding little bit of more things. Yesterday we didn't know what list comprehensions were. Today it is very easy to basically create a list of. Okay. So if I try to tell me that I have numbers from 100 to 1 to 100, give me all the prime numbers between 1 to 100. Okay. So what is that you need to write? You need to write a function called as is prime. Try to write a list comprehension. In list comprehension, pass is prime. Antena? Right? That is what you need to do. So these things are something which makes Python unique. Yeah. Right. Okay. Good. Did we understand this package and module at a first level? Today evening we have a practical session, sir. For whomever it is not possible, you can skip that session. Yeah, because I'll not be covering any syllabus, right? What will you do in the rain coming year? Yeah. Babu is Nazwan Kuneru. Right. Everyone, even though you have not attended this session, evening session is mandatory. If it is heavy rain, I'll try to connect from my home. But we are having that session. By any chance, వర్షాలు పడి మన వర్షం తట్టుకోలేని పరిస్థితిలో ఉంటే మనకు మంగళవారం ఉదయం అదే సెషన్ జరుగుతుంది. బికాస్ ఇవాళ కాకపోతే మంగళవారం దొరుకుతారు నాకు. యా, రైట్. గుడ్. గోపి ఆ నోట్స్లో అప్లోడ్ చేయొచ్చు. యా, today's notes is uploaded, sir. Yeah, we will be covering some of the methods going down the line. I don't want to speak about everything in one day. That doesn't work out. Yeah. Okay, sir. Thank you. तो मैं ये बता रहा हूँ, शाम को सेशन अटेंड करने की जरूरत है या नहीं है? अगर बारिश आके कुछ लेने का मौका नहीं मिला, नीचे पार्किंग पर पानी भी आ गया, मैं ऑनलाइन से ले रहा हूँ, तब भी नहीं हो पाया तो ट्यूसडे के दिन पहला सेशन है, प्रैक्टिकल सेशन ही रहेगा. ओके, राइट. ओके, ఫైన్ సార్, థ్యాంక్ యూ. నో క్లాస్ ఇన్ ది ఈవినింగ్ అంట. బాబోయ్, నేను అంటుంది తుఫాన్ వచ్చేసి బిల్డింగ్లు పడిపోయినా మీరు సోమవారం ఇవాళ మిస్ అయినా మంగళవారం ఇదే జరుగుద్ది. సో ఎవ్రీ వన్ హ్యాస్ టు అటెండ్ ద సెషన్ ఇన్ ద ఈవినింగ్ బై ఎనీ ఛాన్స్, బికాస్ దర్ ఆర్ హెవీ రైన్స్. ఇఫ్ ద సెషన్ క్యాన్సల్స్ ఆల్సో ఆన్ ద ట్యూస్డే, దిస్ ఈస్ ఎగ్జాక్ట్లీ వాట్ వీఆర్ గోయింగ్ టు డూ. ఇది అయ్యేంత వరకు పైథాన్ ముందుకు వెళ్దాంటున్నాను నేను. సో టిల్ దిస్ ప్రాక్టికల్ సెషన్ డజంట్ హ్యాపెన్, there will not be no new topics in Python. That is what I am trying to tell. I am asking we skip, sir. Oh, if you skip, then that will continue. Okay, if till you do this Python, I will be skipping. Yeah, am I clear on this, sir? Everyone has to attend the next session because it is practical, and then you have to do the activities. Clear on this? Okay, you are trying to tell that you don't want class in the evening. Okay, ఎందుకు చదువుకోవాలా? చదువుకోవడానికే ఈవినింగ్ క్లాస్ పెట్టింది నేను. Evening class is all about not new topics. Whatever we have covered so far, we'll be doing practice of that. Okay? Right. For all, everyone. Yeah. Right, sir. Thank you.